Thanks everyone for your time. I hope you're doing good. So today I planned this topic for a specific reason. Insecurities. There's not a single person amongst us or anyone out there who doesn't have an insecurity. We should all know that 100%. Okay? Right from children, they have insecurity about, their safety, their parents' love, protection. You relate to that if you reflect on your childhood. But every single person has insecurities. It's not a bad thing unless we start living our life from those insecurities. And most of us will find that our ability to excel in any part of our life, sometimes the only issue is our insecurity that's stopping us. It becomes one of the biggest obstacles. Of course, the human mind finds ways to blame our bosses, blame our partners, our colleagues, and for everyone. That's the human tendency because our ego likes to protect itself. We like our ego, which is our second self, likes to protect itself. None of us like when our ego is bruised. None of us are okay with that. For that, we need humility, humbleness. A lot of us have it, but still, everyone has an ego. And with an ego comes your own set of insecurities because your ego will always want to first protect us from getting hurt. So the reason of doing this today is because when we look at the spheres of good health, relationships, love, relationships with your colleagues at work, workplaces, finance, wealth, really everything comes down to our insecurities at some point. Now, a lot of us will immediately think the ego will come to our defense and say, oh, I don't have any insecurity. I am strong. I am this. I am that. And yes, but sometimes we got to look beyond that, below that. So the whole point is most people, like I said, everyone has insecurities. Most people are good at hiding them. And a lot of people are good at dealing with them. So what happens when we have insecurities? The first point is we accept them. But do we know what our insecurities are? A lot of us don't even know that. So when we don't know what our insecurities are, we start easily moving to victim mode when things don't go our way. We start moving into, areas of giving up when things don't happen the way they're supposed to happen, or we start blaming everyone around us for the things that we cannot achieve in life. So today's topic is something for you to reflect on. It's a very powerful exercise that you can end up doing. But if we are able to, and I am going to teach you a very simple yet difficult way to overcome insecurities. And the day you do that, a lot of people seek enlightenment from, yoga and meditation and all of that stuff. Yeah, that is one kind of enlightenment. But when you're looking at enlightenment, where I mean just the freedom to live your life better, okay, that lightness in your heart, when a weight lifts up from your chest and you're just able to move on with your life, that's the kind of enlightenment I'm going to teach you today. Going to teach you methods. And if you're able to do that, no one is able to control you anymore. When I say control you, control your emotions. You see, most of us today in life are controlled by other people's words, by what's happening outside, uncertainty in the world, by finances, by partners in relationships, by bosses. We are controlled, whether we like it or not. Most people are controlled. But that control can happen only when our insecurities are an obstacle. The day we decide to overcome this obstacle or this particular insecurity, no one can take away your freedom. You are who you are. People around you will now know that they cannot use your insecurity as a power move to get you to do, what they want you to do or to behave the way that you need to behave. At the end of the day, everyone has a choice. So I've actually, over the last couple of years, dealing with so many patients and counselings, it comes down to these little things. It never comes down to a diet. Very few people need a massive change in their diet. Like I always say, most people already know what they have to do. People know that they need to eat the right food, exercise, sleep well. But when it comes to emotional wellness and growth and failure, that's where most people fail, and diets can't fix that. So, I've been collecting points over the years, and today I thought it's time that we put these points together because it can make a massive, massive difference in your life. And insecurity is nothing but a fear. And you should remember this, everything that you want is on the other side of fear. I'll say that again. Everything that you ever want and that you cannot get right now is mostly on the other side of fear. And that fear is your insecurity. So I'm going to start off with one or two of my own insecurities. It's always good to lead by example. Like I said, everyone has insecurities. And just because sometimes people may perceive us as having great lives on the outside, it doesn't mean that you don't have an insecurity. Remember, I told you that people are either good at hiding it or they're good at dealing with it. So I think the first time I recognized my insecurities was, of course, feedback from probably a well-wisher. When I started off, I'll give you two examples today. When I started off, as a nutritionist or a holistic coach at that time, I didn't have that amount of education as a lot of people do. They have their PhDs, they have their MSCs and all of that stuff. I just had the basic nutrition course done. But I knew I had the ability to change people's lives with what I did, because once I started doing it, I got results. But now to fit in and to get people to know me more and more, and I wanted people to kind of recognize me in that space. My insecurity was that no one will recognize me. I need someone to push me up there. I need Bollywood to push me up there. I need money to market myself. I need money to advertise and stuff like that. So I decided that I didn't want to go any of those ways, because I knew no one in Bollywood. I didn't have enough money to market or advertise myself or even make a website at that particular time. So I just decided I'll start doing it free of cost. And if I do it free, people will like me because I'm not charging money. And people like things which are free, which is a huge, huge lesson that you learn in the end, that free is never valued. Anyway, that's a whole different story. So I started doing that. And a lot of people will say, Luke, can I pay you for your time? And I was like, no, it's my pleasure. I want to help you. Okay, and all of that stuff. And then finally, about a year later, a well-wisher told me that, hey, Luke, you're great at what you do. You're getting your results. Don't you value yourself? Don't you have any self-worth? Because unless you're a billionaire or a multi-millionaire and you're already set in life, that's the only time I would see you not charging. Are you any of those? And I said, absolutely not. I'm not. I said, why don't you value yourself? And I went home that day and I thought about it. I said, I pushed on my self-worth. I know I'm good at what I do. And I pushed on my self-esteem just to figure out a way to fit in and to get people to say that, hey, there's this guy, Luke, and he's good at what he does. So I started charging after that. I remember my first fee was 500 rupees a month with diet plans and coaching and all of that stuff. Anyway, that was my first insecurity, which I had to overcome. I got the feedback and I realized that, hey, I need to believe in myself more, and I have to trust. I have to trust that if I continue doing what I'm doing, I'll automatically grow. I don't have to market. I don't need Bollywood. I don't need any of those things. So that was my first obstacle, which I had to overcome, and I overcame it. The second one was, obstacle, which I'm yet to overcome, an insecurity. Like I said, it's ongoing. We are never free of insecurities. So I deal with cancer all the time, patients with cancer, children with cancer. Children, like 5 years, they're absolutely fine. At 60 out of the blue, they get a brain tumor and all of that stuff. So my insecurity is every time I deal with these patients, that insecurity builds in me that, hey, Luke, this could be your daughter tomorrow. This could be your family. This could be your dad. These are insecurities. And I have to keep meditating on the fact that, listen, but it isn't. Right now, as long as they're taking care of their health, you're doing your best, there's nothing else you can do. So surrender it, leave it. If you're not doing something, then you will worry about it. It'll become an insecurity. But if you're doing it, there's nothing more you can do. You can't let that insecurity keep eating into you all the time. So you have to overcome that. I'm still in the process of doing that. Relationships all the time, from the time I was dating, from whatever, always insecurities. Do I need to dress a particular way? If I don't, will she not like me? Do I need to go to a club even if I don't want to go to a club? Because if I don't go, will she think I'm a boring person? And these are little insecurities that we realize now that we all go through them. But at some point, you realize that if you start acting out of those insecurities, the only person who's going to be unhappy is you, because you can't keep changing to please everyone else if that's not your core true self. Of course, if we got to make some changes like in our behavior or certain things which are limiting for us and is causing harm to people around, we owe it to ourselves and society to make those changes. But over and above that, sometimes we got to overcome that insecurity and realize that, hey, if someone wants to love me, let them love me the way I am. This is all I can do. Otherwise, my entire life, I'm going to have to go on pretending, dressing up, going to clubs, doing all of these things. So these are ways and examples of how you would go through insecurities and how you have to overcome it by facing your own fears and stepping into the pain or the uncomfortable positions of dealing with these things. Anyway, so insecurity only breeds negativity. Okay, think of anything that you're insecure about. The only residue is going to be negativity, bitterness. In your mind, you've changed to make someone happy. Okay, that person's not asked you to change. You've just not had the confidence to tell that person, I don't want to change and I want to be the way I am. But when that person doesn't behave the way you want them to, that feeling becomes bitterness. Insecurity can become bitterness very, very easily. But it is still your world that you've created for yourself, and the other person probably doesn't even know that you've been trying to please that person or behave a particular way out of your own perceptions of how that other person would react. And when that person doesn't react that way, it results in anger, sometimes hatred, sometimes in bitterness. And all of these are very, very negative emotions. Insecurity breeds negativity. It takes away our self-confidence. It takes away our self-worth, our self-esteem, because all the time we're putting ourselves down to be someone we're not, to please someone, to please a boss, to please a partner, and all of these things. But why do we do it? Because we're insecure. If we don't do that, what's going to happen to us? Love may be taken away from us. We may not get a promotion. Our friends may make fun of us. People may laugh at us. We won't have friends anymore. This is the residue of insecurity. So there's fear, there's residue, and there's insecurity. So technically, when we brace insecurity, now listen to this very, very carefully. When we brace insecurity as a source of information, it becomes a very transformative tool. So if I'm insecure, I'm going to give you a hypothetical example right now. Let me say, okay, I'm insecure. Let me use the same example of treating a cancer patient, and I dealt with a child who has a brain tumor at the age of 7. Absolutely no issue. The child was healthy, great lifestyle, great family, everything fine. The child got a brain tumor. I'm insecure now because I'm consulting with that patient, and I think that, hey, my daughter or my nephews and my cousins who are the same age can also get it out of the blue. Okay, now I can use this insecurity to move me and spiral me into fear and negativity, or I can use it as a source of information. Okay, and that can become a very transformative tool. When I say that, I look at this and I'm looking at the commonalities of these cancer cases and learning from it. And I'm going back and educating people. So if there's something that they didn't do right, they can start doing it well. They can look at their immunity, they can reduce inflammation. The same thing with love. Let's use an example of love. Right now, if I'm insecure in my relationship, whatever, insecure in my relationship, and if I really sit down and I see, where is that insecurity coming from? What is this information coming from it? I'm insecure because my partner is going to go around and start going clubbing every night and talking to new men. Let's use that as a simple hypothetical example. Okay, this is information coming to me. Okay, she's going and talking to other men, but she still comes home to me. Is our relationship good? Are we investigating enough? Am I getting clues that she doesn't like me anymore? She's a human being. She has the right to talk to anyone, even though we're in a relationship, even though she's my partner. She's my partner. I'm using information as a transformative tool for me. So where is my insecurity coming from? Am I trying to control her? Do I think I can keep her loving me if I don't allow her to talk to other men? Do I think I can control her and she'll only love me if I don't allow her to go clubbing anymore? So you see, I'm getting information which is very valuable. And this can be used as a transformative tool for me to overcome my insecurity, because both answers are no. You know, I may put pressure on her and fight with her and tell her, hey, I don't want you talking to other men. Like, okay, fine, I won't do it. Has it sorted any problem for me? No. She can still be lured away into another relationship in 100 different ways. If I stop her going from clubbing, is it only in a club that you can meet another guy? You can meet a guy anywhere, on the street, at your workplace, anywhere. So you see, I am working from an area of trying to control, which is my own insecurity, which is always very, very inaccurate. Now, where my insecurity is coming from could be a past bad relationship, could be thoughts in my mind, could be so many different things, but we'll come to that later. Just to give you an example, insecurity can be a source of information, very valuable information to ourselves, which we can use as a transformative tool to overcome our own insecurities. So you see, it doesn't have to be bad. We can look at it very negatively and hide it because we're embarrassed. We don't want our own partners to know about our insecurities. We don't want our parents to know about it. We don't want our colleagues to know it, our best friends to know about it. We don't want them to know about it. But guess what? As we begin to face these, it becomes a very, very transformative tool. So where does insecurities come from? Many, many, many places. And we go over a couple of them. Recent failures. If you've gone through a recent failure, and now let's say you went through a failure in your business, you will have some insecurity to maybe start a new business or go down that same path again. It can come from social anxiety and mainly comparison. Comparison and social anxiety are the thieves of joy and every positive feeling in our life. Imagine if you're a person who's constantly comparing yourself with everyone in real life and on social media or in society. Your insecurities are only going to build up and more and more and more. Today you wake up and you say, hey, wow, I'm looking great in the mirror. And you go out to a club and you see like 10 women looking thinner than you or 5 men looking more muscular than you. But you're comparing yourselves. You're not happy with the way you look. You were happy with the way you looked in the morning. But now because you started comparing yourself in society, all of a sudden you feel inadequate. And insecurity, oh no, I need to work harder. I need to lose more weight because those people in front of me look better than me, which means they'll get better men or better women or more money or better jobs. Our own insecurities are driven by fear. So it comes from social anxiety, comparison. It comes from the fact when you're a perfectionist. When you're a perfectionist, okay, if things don't go the way they're supposed to go, and in most of the lives of perfectionists, it never goes the way they want it to go. Like I always tell people who are perfectionists, feel bad. Channel that energy that you put into being a perfectionist into excellence. But don't try to use it as a way to measure your life, because not even nature is perfect. You can't be perfect. Every time something is imperfect or something doesn't go your way, you're going to crash. You're going to go through bitterness, anger, all the negative emotions. It's not going to work positively for you. So insecurities also come from you trying to be a perfectionist, because when it doesn't go your way, all of a sudden you feel, I'm not good enough. Oh no, I failed again. Oh no, people are not listening to me, or they're not putting things back in the same place because maybe I have failed at commanding respect from them. You just beat up yourself with your own thoughts and your own fears and perceptions, which are driven by your own insecurity. Okay, so your self-esteem plays a huge role in this. Your self-worth. If you don't know how much you're worth, and I say not in terms of money, because that's the worst comparison. A lot of people have net worths of millions of dollars and billions of dollars, but they still have no self-esteem. So net worth is never equal to self-worth. We are talking about self-worth, not based on the amount of money that you have in your bank account, not based on the amount of handbags you have, watches you have, cars, yachts, or whatever it is. Self-worth is, what do you think of yourself? How do you look in your own eyes when it comes to your success, your happiness, your body, all of these things? Without comparing yourself with the outside world, what is your self-worth? It is so important for you to know this, because if you don't know your own self-worth, that itself is a huge insecurity. Now, today I may step out into the real world and 10 people may say, hey, Luke, you're horrible at what you do. You don't look good. You're bad. You're this, you're whatever, and stuff like that. I would be ruined in no time. But if I'm aware of my self-worth, that who are these 10 people? I know how I am. I know the impact I'm making. I know what I do. I know everything that I feel. I know that I look great. I know that my love life is fantastic. Whatever. I know my self-worth. Those people's remarks may just hurt you a little bit, dent off you. Okay, but you remain whole. For someone who doesn't know their self-worth, they will crumble. And then they will start making action plans out of desperation. Oh, I need to look good. Let me get onto a fat diet plan. Oh, I need this. Let me pump myself with steroids. Let me do this. Let me buy a handbag because maybe then I'll be recognized in society. Maybe I should just take a loan and buy a fancy car. Then maybe people will love me more and appreciate me more. You make these decisions out of low self-worth. Now you can have high self-worth and still buy the best bag, the best watch, the best yacht, do what you want. But you're not buying it because of your low self-worth. It's coming from a space of affordability, you like it, you're doing it, not because your self-worth and your self-esteem is right down. So it is so important for people, even when they make their goals in life, don't attach emotions to goals, because what if your goals fail? So a lot of people, when they don't meet their goals, they've attached their self-worth and their self-esteem to it. So for example, I want to lose 3 kilos a month. Maybe you lost 2, but you attached your self-worth and your self-esteem to the weighing scale. Now you didn't achieve your goal, and all of a sudden you're in depression, you hate yourself, you hate your body, you start looking up for quick fixes and fad diets. Make a goal, but that does not have to be attached with your self-worth, because goals may work, they may not work. Irrespective, you still have to continue being happy. Your happiness is independent of all your circumstances, and so is your self-esteem. If you've built your whole self-esteem and self-worth on other people's opinions, guess what? You are no longer in control. They control every aspect of you. Today they say good things to you, you're on the moon. Tomorrow they say one bad thing to you, you're right down and you term yourself as depressed, or you label yourself as depressed. So whatever goals you make in life, know that you can fail. There's nothing wrong with failure. Maybe those goals were not meant for you to be attained in the first place. And that'll motivate you into chasing a new goal or a different goal, or you will have the perseverance to continue with the same goal. But do not attach self-worth and self-esteem with your goal. At the same time, a lot of people make goals like, when I have X amount of money, then I will be confident about myself. When my girlfriend marries me, then I will be happy. No, Absolutely the wrong way of goal setting. Decide to be happy irrespective. Decide to feel confident irrespective. If you put a condition to it, what if the girl doesn't marry you? Then are you going to be unhappy all your life? What if you don't get that kind of money that you were aspiring for? Does that mean you're not going to be confident anymore? So no, your values, your characteristics, and your personality remains the same, irrespective of your goals and your circumstances. Your goals will destroy you if you attach your self-esteem, your self-confidence, and your self-worth to them. Never ever do that. So if I say I want to be the best and I want to have like $10 million in 2 years, and then I'm going to dress differently and I'm going to be this person and I'm going to whatever and stuff. No, absolutely not. Be that person right now. Act as if you've already got those millions of dollars. Act as if you're already married your girlfriend or whatever it is. Do not put conditions. Do not put conditions to life circumstances, especially to the things we're talking about. Self-esteem, self-worth, love, happiness. Decide that all these emotions will continue irrespective of life's circumstances. So you have to understand that humans, why are insecurities so difficult for us to manage? Humans are hardwired to seek pleasure and avoid pain. Always remember that. That's why painkillers sound so good to us. That's why we like to get high, all of these things. We are hardwired for pleasure. Everything that you're doing today, unconsciously or subconsciously, you are doing it looking for pleasure. Now, pleasure doesn't have to mean just the physical pleasure that you get from sex. The pleasure could be from the comfort of having a new apartment, providing security to your family, to your children, nice holidays, relaxation. For all of that, you work hard. You need money to make those dreams happen. So you see, in some way or the other, why do we want our relationships to be good? So that we get pleasure out of them. We get happiness. We get joy. All of these things. Okay, that's why we're constantly seeking for these things to work, because humans are hardwired to find pleasure, seek pleasure, and avoid pain. So we want to work hard. We want to make money because we don't want to go through the discomfort of not having enough. We don't want to go through the pain of not being able to, have enough of money to go on a holiday or put food on our tables and all of that stuff. That is how we are wired. And that, unfortunately, also is what makes overcoming insecurity so difficult. You see, because avoidance, not moving out of our comfort zone, when we're stuck in our comfort zone, we don't want to overcome our insecurities. We're like, oh, yeah, I dealt with it. It's okay. I don't think about it anymore. It's okay. It's no big deal. Let it be fine. We don't want to face our fears. We don't want to face discomfort. Okay? So what happens is, when we want to overcome insecurities, the first thing is courage. Now, what is the definition of courage? All of us have different definitions of courage. The definition of courage is commitment to facing your fears and your pain. Commitment to facing your fears and your pain. All right? So now, when you break down your insecurities, why don't we want to face them? Because it means we need to step into pain. We need to step out of our comfort zone. Okay, we got to face things, emotional things that we don't want to. But today, the bitter, ugly truth and the real truth is, if you want to overcome any insecurity, we have to do that. There are many ways, but one of them is mustering up the courage to face it. And once you've faced it, it is no longer an insecurity. And the progress that you make in that sphere of your life is going to be nothing short of spectacular. That joyous feeling, that light heart that I spoke to you about, it is an incredible feeling. Most people fight for freedom. They demand freedom in different ways. They don't understand what freedom is. Most of them are still prisoners within their own selves, in their own selves. They think freedom is not being allowed to do what they want when they want. Everyone can anyway do that right now. That's not freedom. Okay, if that doesn't result you in feeling liberated within you and light, a light feeling in your heart, joy, bliss, these human emotions, you don't know what the meaning of freedom is yet. And to experience that, the first step is overcoming your insecurities. So we all have inner strength. Every human being has inner strength. You're born with it. You develop it. It's part of survival. You need inner strength to survive. Okay, if I put you in a corner right now, okay, you may be a very weak person. You may be scared of me, but you are threatened with a life and death situation. You will react. You will react in the weakest possible way or the strongest possible way, but you have an inner strength. that will come out. That inner strength in most of us today is subdued. It's pushed because of layers of emotional abuse, hurt, betrayal, failure, all of these things. The inner strength has literally diminished. The flame is very, very weak. It is diluted by the external world. Our inner strength is diluted by the external world, our past, everything that we've gone through. There are other ways that dilute our inner strength. And we need inner strength when we're going to look at overcoming insecurity. When you're constantly looking for validation from people. It's always good to get feedback from people, but when you're looking for this validation, am I good enough? Am I doing enough? Do I look good? Is my skin always perfect? Am I wearing the right clothes? All of that stuff. That's fine. But if you're looking for external validation from social media, from your friends, from your partner all the time, you are only weakening your inner strength more and more. Your inner strength should tell you right now that, hey, you look good enough. Yes, that's the dress you should wear. You don't need 10 people to tell you that. Yes, this is the decision I should make in my relationship. Stay in it, get out of it. I don't need to go to speak to 20 girlfriends or 20 boyfriends to find out what I should do. That's because your own inner strength, you don't have confidence in your own self-worth. You can take guidance, you can get mentored, but it is your inner strength that makes all the decisions for you, because only you, inside you, knows the best and what is the best for you. So validation destroys that. False appreciation. Ever been in a situation where you realize today how fake the world is? People just say things to you all the time because they want something from you. They want to make you feel happy. They have an agenda with you. False appreciation coming in from your bosses, coming in from your partners, coming in from everywhere. They just want to make you feel good because they want to get something out of it. Be very aware of this, because that can diminish your inner strength. Be aware of flattery. Be aware of this false sense of appreciation and all of these things. False words as well. You want to get someone to do something, so you go and say, hey, only you can do this, and you're the best at this, and you're all of that stuff. You use false words, and a lot of people are very naive. They use these false words to think that this person really genuinely wants them, or needs them, or values them, or admires them. That happens when your inner strength is weak. So be careful of false words. Let me give you an example in a relationship. Okay, when you use all this false appreciation, all these false, you go on, half the couples say, I love you, I love you, I love you 10 times a day. But all of them have fights. They don't know how to forgive one another. They don't know how to live with compassion. They don't know how to live with kindness. So useless words are used. The more and more this is done, your inner strength diminishes more and more. And then you become so vulnerable to outside external stimulation, validation. Your insecurities become more and more. Because guess what? You're in a relationship. Let's take a classic example of the start of a relationship. Everyone knows the first few months, the first year, the second year. Why is it called a honeymoon period? Because each partner will say the best of the best to their partner. They'll be on the best of their behavior. All the poems will come out. All the fancy quotes will come out. The gifts, all the thoughtfulness and everything. I'm not saying this is wrong. But now understand this. After the first or second year, it starts diminishing from each partner. Okay? Now, all of a sudden, insecurity starts building up because you were used to so much of attention and kind words and lovey-dovey stuff all the time. Now, all of a sudden, you're not getting it anymore. It's diminishing. So your insecurity comes up. And all of a sudden, you start thinking, oh, maybe he found someone else. Oh, maybe she likes someone else now, because it isn't the same as it was before. This is one of the best examples of insecurity that I can show you. But it's the truth. It happens with everyone. But now it's become your insecurity. But now you've got to break down that insecurity into information, valuable information that can become a transformative tool for you. And then you realize that, yeah, I'm not doing enough. I gave her so much of attention, or she gave me so much attention in the beginning. The sex was great in the beginning, so frequent, so dynamic, so different. Now it's the same old boring thing once or twice a month. But your insecurity is not real. It's just because it's become less. So your insecurity may be real if your partner really is cheating on you or looking elsewhere. But in most cases, like I said, you break down that information. By you reacting and fighting, it's not going to change anything. It's only going to make things worse. But it can be used as valuable information, and you realize that, hey, I've changed. I don't give her enough of gifts. I don't say lovey-dovey things to her anymore. I don't I've changed. I've probably become boring. I do the same things in bed all the time. Simple example. You don't have to blame anyone. Sometimes that can be information for you to change. Transformative tools, or for the other person. You begin to understand the other person in a different light. And you go up and ask your partner, hey, I don't feel appreciated anymore. I don't feel loved anymore. We don't have sex anymore. Is there someone else in your life, or am I not good enough for you anymore? Your partner will probably just sit you down, laugh it out, and then you'll realize that, yeah, things have gotten kind of stale. We need to rekindle spirit. Problem over in most cases. But if the insecurity becomes bigger and bigger, it's not real. It's an illusion in the story. You know how it's going to destroy your relationship and your future. It's as simple as that. So instead of feeling like a failure, okay, because we're insecure, we need to start committing to facing our fears, breaking them down, stepping into pain, stepping out of our comfort zone, using this information to transform us. And that is the only way we can actually progress in our personal and our professional lives. Utilize insecurity as valuable information. Now let's break it down, okay? Let's talk about insecurity in love. These are one of the most challenging things, most challenging things. You got to break it down, like I said. Sometimes you may not like the truth. You may find the truth is that, things aren't working out anymore. The relationship has run its course, all of that stuff. But you will use solid information to make those decisions. You won't make it from a space of fear and blame and doubt and envy and all of that stuff. Remember one thing when it comes to your insecurities, when you're breaking it down. No matter what, whatever has to happen is going to happen. It is going to happen. So if you have insecurity in your relationship right now because your partner's talking to someone or not giving you enough of love and you think it's someone at work or someone, whatever and stuff like that, break it down and remind yourself, no matter how much you want to be in control, if your relationship is not meant to work out, or if your partner is meant to cheat on you, your insecurity is not going to change that. It's not going to stop that. You may put in rules, you may put in curfews, you may go through their phones, all of that stuff. But if something has to happen, there are a million possible ways that it can happen, and your insecurity doesn't help you at all. That's the first thing that we have to know when we're talking about insecurity in love and relationships. You cannot come from a space of control. It will not work. It may make you feel that you're in control, and we all like power. And that's why I want to mention two words in insecurity when it comes to love and in relationships. There is ego and pride. Okay, most of us don't want our ego hurt. How can he talk to other women? How can she talk to that other man? Hey, you're not the only man or woman on this planet who needs to be in her life. Yes, he or she you may be committed to her, but just because your partner's speaking to someone else, okay, doesn't mean anything else that your mind is beginning to grow into stories. That is your own insecurity, and you're trying to control it with measures, with anger, with male dominance, or with blackmail. You're trying to use all these control mechanisms to control something that you cannot control. So we have to look at ego and pride in relationships. Yes, remember one thing, anything and everything can happen to all of us. Nothing is guaranteed. You're not guaranteed that just because you've fallen in love with one partner, that person has to be with you for a lifetime. Nothing lasts forever, and nothing has to remain constant. Remind yourself of this. Your mindsets and beliefs that are built because you watched too many movies and too many TV serials or read too many books, okay? Your mindset is built on a virtual world, which is not the real world. No one has to love you forever. We would all like that to happen. But remind yourself, okay? Don't make it an insecurity. But when you make it insecurity, most people's insecurities come from, how could he do this to me? How could she do this to me? Well, too bad. Human beings can do that to one another. Do you want to stay wallowing in your self-pity and being a victim? Or do you want to really use this information and your own insecurities as information to transform you? What did you do wrong? Okay, what did she do wrong? There are so many ways of looking at it. Okay, have you been giving her attention? Have you been giving her time? Have you changed as a person? Okay, is your behavior become so negative that, she doesn't want to be around you anymore? There are so many ways of looking at it. But the moment our insecurities jump in, we try to react to it using anger, violence, dominance, abuse, physical, as well as mental and emotional. We use all these techniques because what are we trying to protect from getting hurt? Our ego and our pride. Our insecurities stem from protecting our ego and our pride. So it's very important for us to understand when it comes to insecurities, we also have to look at acceptance that, okay, fine, I have cancer right now. Let me accept it. It's happened to me. Yes, I was healthy. I did everything or whatever, but it's happened to me. Now, what is my next step of action? Do I want to be a victim and go on, why me? Or do I want to figure, hey, I need to overcome this. What is my next action plan? Or do I let all my insecurities come in and rule and control my life and become the only limiting obstacle to a possible beautiful recovery? Acceptance is number one that I have in insecurity. Acceptance I have in insecurity. Let me give you another insecurity because I keep thinking about myself. That's the best way to give an example. I put a lot of content out on Instagram and everywhere else. People copy me. People copy a lot, word to word, word to word. They copy, they take my post, they'll copy it and stuff like that. At first, it would make me angry. I would be like angry, like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing all that? So why am I getting angry about this? It's a good thing they're copying. They don't have a mind of their own. They don't have a skill of their own. Then I realized there's an insecurity behind that anger, that insecurity that I'm putting in effort. I am putting in hard work to come up with content everywhere. Someone's just taking it and putting it there. What's my insecurity? That they're going to get better than me. And then this is valuable information for me, that my insecurity is, what if they get better than me? They're taking all my information, just posting it day after day. And what if they get better than me? That's a real insecurity. But now I know it's information to me. It's transforming me. And it has transformed me. I realize that as long as I keep doing it, everyone can recognize a copy. Everyone can recognize imitation at some point. They may be able to copy what I do, but are they able to translate it into the actual work that we do with our patients? And the immediate answer that hits me is nowhere close to it. So now there's no insecurity anymore. So I'm like, go ahead, do what you want, copy. It may hurt a little bit, but it's no longer an insecurity. So I won't start checking everyone's account to see who's copied me, because that's delaying me and draining my own energy. So that's another example. Okay, put the ego down, put the pride down, accept. Luke, you're putting out stuff there. It's good stuff. People only use good stuff. They only copy and imitate good stuff. They're not doing it with the accounts which are. So now insecurity out of the way because I was able to break it down and figure out where it was coming from. So love, break down your relationship. How many people are living in insecurity? I can't tell you. Yes, of course it's real. Maybe you went through betrayal before. Maybe you went through hurt in your relationship. Maybe you got cheated on. Maybe you went through all of these things. A lot of us have gone through this when we were dating, prior to getting married, whatever and stuff. And we act from those insecurities. If I remember a relationship where I was cheated on, okay, and I recognize those traits of that girl. Today, if I see similar traits in my new relationship, immediately insecurities come up. But I got to remind myself and break it down that, hey, that person was different. That time was different. It doesn't have to be the same. I've broken it down. My insecurities are broken down. That's why most people destroy their relationships because of insecurities. After a while, a partner cannot take it anymore. They cannot be emotionally blackmailed anymore. They have to face their fears, put their foot down and say, hey, I'm not responsible for my past anymore. What I did, yes, I can't. Now let's make a decision. If you're willing to forgive, if you're willing to come to terms with, let's do it. If not, I really think it's best for both of us to go our own separate ways. You have to face your fears. You got to step into the possible pain that will come with this conversation. Either that, or you continue making your relationship more and more toxic because more and more insecurities build up all the time. Yes, it is wrong that certain things happen and that certain behaviors, were demonstrated in a relationship, but it's happened. It's the past. This is your present. You have a choice. You have a choice whether you want to continue or not continue. You cannot emotionally blackmail your partner or your lover. You can't do that because you're using insecurity as a card for control, for every little mistake, for every little thing that you do. No, you got to make a choice. And if you make a choice to continue in that relationship, then you make the choice to accept that person's faults and that person's past. You can't use your insecurities anymore as a card. This will destroy that person and you and a possible beautiful relationship. Or if you can't take it, you got to make the decision to move out and say, I'm sorry, I just can't get over it. As much as I try to do it, I can't. I think it's best that we move in our own directions. So you have to overcome your insecurity. Most people are in toxic relationships today because they're unable to express. They want to, but they can't because they cannot commit themselves to facing problems, confrontations, uncomfortable spaces, uncomfortable behaviors, repercussions that may come out of facing your fears, saying what you want to do. Now, I know you'll have every reason. Oh, Luke, but I'm in a joint family. Oh, Luke, but we have a kid. Yes. Then if those are your cases, accept it. Accept it. That if you want to choose to continue in that, accept it. But you can no longer live your life from your insecurity. Then you got to accept your partner, how he or she is. You got to accept your in-law, how he or she is. You cannot work from a space of insecurity if you have made a decision to continue over there. So sometimes, yes, you got to put your ego down, you got to put your pride down, and you got to move forward with your own life. Most people are in their own prisons, their own cages, their own insecurities are driving them every day. You have to have the courage. No one else can do it for you. No one can help you to overcome your insecurity. You can have the best conversation with a top psychologist. At the end of the day, your psychologist is not going to do your job of facing your fears, stepping into pain. You got to do it. You got to do it. We're going to tell you how to do that a little later. I'll give you an example of love. Let's talk about work insecurities. Oh, I didn't get that promotion. I'm not good enough. Oh, my boss doesn't like me. I'm not invited for these parties. I'm not invited for these meetings. I'm not good enough. We constantly work with our insecurities. Okay? Sometimes put the ego and pride down. Maybe the person who got the promotion deserved it more than you. Maybe you've just been told all your life that you're the best at everything. But maybe you aren't. Maybe you aren't. Maybe you got to reflect on this. Maybe you aren't good enough at your work. Doesn't make you not good enough as a person. But the way we like, and then we go and speak to our best friends. And why are they our best friends? Because they agree to us. They say, yeah, you deserved it. How could that get that promotion? How could I get that promotion? You deserved it. You deserved it. False words, false appreciation. They don't know. They don't know if that person was really better than you. So you see, what happens is then we push ourselves deeper and deeper into victim mode, and we start to feel more and more insecure because our inner strength is diminished. Maybe your boss really doesn't like you. Maybe because you aren't doing things the right way. No one has to like you. No one has to. I'm a boss. I have a team under me. Let me tell you honestly right now that yes, by default, there may be some people who I may have a softer corner towards when it comes to their work. Maybe because they've been with me longer. Maybe because they do their work better. Maybe. Now, as a good manager and as a good leader, I can't let that come into my decisions when it comes to promotions and everything else. But I'm being honest with you. I'm not going to give you a false picture. We're all human beings. We are all human beings. Tomorrow, when you make your own team, you will have your own favorites in those teams. You should never let that drive your decisions and make other people inferior because you like someone else. You've got to be very clear about that. But you're human. And maybe your boss doesn't like you as much as he would like someone else. You have a choice. Wallow in your self-pity or change your job. If you have the skill that you think you have, you may find that promotion in a different company. But a lot of people then start working out of their insecurities, bitterness, anger, hatred, backstabbing, blaming, complaining, whining. Look at your insecurity. Do I need more skills? Does that person really have more skills than me? Everyone's only trying to pull down the people who grow in life. No one wants to sit back and say that, wow, those people who grew, they do these two or three things way better than I do. Maybe I need to improve on that. Maybe sometimes we got to see other people's growth as something we can be happy for. When we're happy for other people growing, then we start, allowing information to flow in that can transform us. That, hey, no matter what, I may be the smartest guy in my company, but this guy gets things done. He takes action and he gets things done. That's why he's gotten promoted. So sometimes your own insecurities can become your biggest limitations, and it will not allow you to grow in life. And of course, sometimes, let's be truthful, there is biasness. Maybe your boss just doesn't give a shit about you and it's time for you to move on. But when you live consciously and you break down your insecurities, you will learn all of these things. So from our work aspects and insecurities that come from there, maybe you don't have enough of skill. Maybe you don't have enough of experience. I can't tell you how many spoiled brats out there, just because their parents have made successful companies, they go, they get themselves an MBA, and they want vice president positions and CEO positions in the company. They come, and everyone has to give them respect. But everyone's only giving them respect because he's the boss's son or the daughter. What they don't have, these people who quickly make it to the top because of power, they don't have experience. They fail. They crumble emotionally. They may have a CEO designation on their business card. No one respects them. They can't get the work done because they don't have what other people have, which is experience. So you see, sometimes these things happen as well. Now, maybe this quick growth CEO has to really work, get skills and experience, and get, down to root level of the job and learn everything and mingle with people so people will respect him or her more. So we need to understand this. Insecurities can come out of that. I know so many people who have made it to the top because of their parents, and they're always in emotional counseling. No one likes me, Luke. No one respects me, Luke. I'm the CEO, but I know everyone laughs behind my back. Say one thing, you got to respect other people for their experience. Don't act like a CEO. Okay? Get down to people's positions and their levels. Learn from them. Go and ask them to teach you. MBA can't teach you experience in life. Experience in life comes from you working hard many years, year after year, becoming a subject matter expert. Okay, so go down to their level and maybe they'll start respecting you more. So break down your insecurities all the time. It's not someone else's fault. In most cases, our insecurities are driven from our own inabilities and our own inadequateness when it comes to our skills, our knowledge, and everything else. Let's talk about insecurities when it comes to money and wealth. A lot of us are insecure. Oh, I can't make money. I can't do this. I can't do that. A lot of people, insecurities come from their childhood. They didn't have enough money when they were growing up, all of that stuff. So you're insecure. You're always chasing money. And if it's not enough, you start getting more and more frustrated because you believe that you need to make that money so you don't have to go through the same life that you went through. But sometimes a lot of our insecurities can be sorted out by ourselves. Have we studied enough? Have we worked enough? Are we doing enough to earn that kind of money that we desire? A lot of people are lazy. A lot of people procrastinate. A lot of people don't have discipline. A lot of people don't have consistency. And then they don't do that. They don't get that kind of money. They don't get that kind of position that pays. They don't do enough to grow. But this insecurity builds more and more. So sometimes our insecurities have to reflect and teach us that, hey, Luke, you're not doing enough. You got to go out there and work harder and work smarter. Stop hiding behind your fears and your insecurities. But we don't want to face this. None of us want to know and learn that we're lazy people, that we procrastinate, that we're not disciplined. We don't like to hear this. Why? What's getting hurt? Your ego and your pride. At the same time, you may be working really hard, disciplined, doing everything, but at insecurity, you may be having enough right now, great job, a home, everything, but you still feel insecure about money. Then you got to break it down. Where is that insecurity coming from? Your childhood, things that people said. Have you seen something where people lost all of their money and you think it can happen to you tomorrow? Maybe you've not invested. Maybe you invested too aggressively and, you're insecure that if the stock markets crash, I'll lose all my money. So you see, when you break down and face that insecurity, it's giving you valuable information. So if it's going to be the stock market thing, immediately change your portfolio, move more into debt. You may not make that much of money, but at least you're safe. Insecurity down. Break down your insecurities. Now let's talk about the last fear, insecurity when it comes to your self-esteem. Okay? I'm not good enough. I'm not worth it. I don't look good. All of these, where does it come from? Number one, comparison. Two, of course, if people criticize you, your own parents, they call you fat, they call you good for nothing, they call you useless, all of these things. I want you to be able to face them. Okay? Be aware that today, yes, I am insecure because of what my dad said to me. I'm insecure because of what my mom said to me. I'm insecure because of what my last boyfriend told me. He said, I'm horrible in bed, I'm fat, I can't do this and stuff like that. Make a list. We'll come to solution mode, very simple. But you have to know what your insecurities are and where they are coming from. For that, you've got to step out of comfort into a little bit of pain. And you've got to face this on, face on. If your partner keeps making you feel little all the time, your boss keeps making you face it straight on. Walk up to him and say, hey, listen, I don't like what you say. I think I look great. I think my work is good. If there's something you want to say, talk about what I need to change. Don't talk about me. Don't talk about my personality. Be upfront. Face your fears. You will build respect in a minute, in a second. But when you push your self-worth right down, people will only continue to trample on you more and more. So for your self-esteem, you've got to look at your ego and pride. A lot of people's insecurities are also driven by their egos and pride. I want to look the best. I want to be the best. Then you got to do everything. But if you're not the best, you also got to face that. So sometimes you got to put your ego and pride down heavily, heavily. I've dealt with billionaires who have ego and pride. And they're like, oh, Luke, no, I can't do that. Meditation is not for me. Meditation is for people who have spare time, people who have, a lot of time. I said, how much time do you spend in a hospital for at least 2-3 hours a month on dialysis? You're wasting your time there too. If you learn to meditate, cut your stress down. Your own kidney doctors told you that you can get out dialysis. Now, what are you willing to do? So ego and pride can be destructive to you. And a lot of very simple people who are simple on the outside sometimes give you that, that feeling that they're simple, but they have such high egos and prides. They got to break it down. The only person who can do it is you. You got to sit down, and for your self-esteem, you got to break it down. You got to look at your ego and your pride. You have to be aware of this so that you can work with it and you can face it. Okay? The want to be liked all the time. You got to start making a list of, the people who like you and just start spending more time with them. Okay? Because when we're constantly wanting to be liked by everyone else, sometimes we fail to look around at the few people who like us and we ignore them in our constant pursuit to be liked by the virtual world and everyone out there who really, they don't mean much to us, but we want them. We want their likes. We want their appreciation. We want their validation. So again, you got to do this exercise of overcoming that insecurity of why do I want to be liked so much and why by so many people? If I know I'm liked by 5 or 6 important people, that's enough. I don't need the whole world to like me. The whole world will never like you. Know that. Everyone doesn't have to like you. Everyone doesn't have to love you. Everyone doesn't have to appreciate you. No, they don't. I used to get trolled on social media for a while and I used to feel bad. And you know where I got my inspiration to overcome that insecurity? When I looked at the best personalities in the world, from the Pope to religious swamis to, people who are like the most dynamic people. And when I saw that even they get trolled, I was like, Luke, who the hell are you? People are going to troll irrespective. It's not about you. It's about them. No longer an insecurity. Move on. Create. Impact. Okay? So when it comes to your self-esteem, no comparison. Make an action plan. Now let's get into resolution mode. Very, very simple before we end this call. Okay? Uncertainty. The biggest insecurity that most people are going through right now is uncertainty. What's going to happen after the lockdown? Am I going to have a job? Are things going to change at work? Will we get promotions? That's uncertainty. You can't do anything about that. The only thing you can do right now is, if I am a software analyst, what other skills can I develop in this time to go back when the world opens up and become the best software analyst? If I'm a nutritionist, if I'm a doctor, if I'm a painter, if I'm an artist, whatever you are, you can't invest in uncertainty because it's uncertain. You don't know. But what you can do is invest in yourself and your skills. So you see, instead of wallowing in uncertainty, you moved into action. So when the world opens up, you are going to go back with 10 different skills and you are going to be the best or the most effective at what you do. Make new plans in uncertainty. Okay, if you're uncertain of a job, I know so many people who have started online businesses. So they have a second revenue stream coming back. And a lot of them have already told me, Luke, in 2 months, even if I don't get my job back, I'm making enough of money online. I got a new revenue stream. Instead of wallowing in uncertainty, they went and they studied and they found out a new way of making money on the internet and online legally. And they're doing it. You see, if you're insecure and your insecurity is draining you of your energy, you don't have energy to invest in an action plan. So you keep wallowing and draining your energy, whereas people are dealt the same card of uncertainty as you. A lot of people have gone out there, they've made ebooks, they've made e-lines of businesses, they've polished up on their skills, they've got certified on new courses. They are going to be super successful once the world opens up. So you see, insecurity can make you a prisoner, or you got to overcome it and move into action. First step, I want you to sit down and every insecurity that you have in your life, when it comes, make it into spheres: health, relationships, family, work, personal growth. Sit down and write your insecurities. Once you've written it down, list down all your fears under this. I'm insecure. My insecurity with my partner is she dresses up hot all the time and talks to other guys. Next step, why am I insecure? Maybe she'll fall in love with another guy. Okay, there, you've got 2 points to work with right now. You've broken it down. This is a lot of information to you. Now you can move that into action. Can I have an honest conversation without fighting with my girlfriend if this is how I feel? And she'll, in most cases, say, hey, you don't have to ever worry. And she'll remind you how much she loves you. And that's enough for you to feel good all the time. And then you realize that probably, you don't feel intimate anymore. And that's why there are more insecurities building up with you. So break it down. List down your fears. Another beautiful statement, write this down. Why can't I have ... Why can't I have peace in my relationship, growth in my company, growth in my workplace, okay, more money coming in? Why can't I have? And write down what it is that you can't have, that you think you can't have. List down everything. I'm lazy, I procrastinate, I just like to show the world I'm hardworking, but really I'm not. Write down your truth. Face it. Face the pain. Face the pain of what you have to write, because this is you being your authentic, truthful self with you. But when you write that down, you find out a lot of points are action points that only you can take. And if you take those action points, guess what? You overcome those insecurities. And then when you don't have those insecurities, you stop living your life from a space of trying to control everyone using your position, your power, your gender, the money that you have in your bank, using emotional blackmailing cards that you may have collected over the years because of someone else's mistakes and stuff like that. It'll change your life. You got to step into the pain and you got to face the truth. Remember, nothing lasts forever and nothing is ever constant. I want you to drill that into your subconscious mind. So when things go out of control for you in life, it doesn't hit you like a brick in the face. You know that, hey, nothing really does last forever. Let me move into action. If this is important, I'll do everything to save it. Let me save this relationship. Let me save this job. Let me build this business. It's important to me. You'll move into action. You won't waste a single day wallowing in self-pity created by your own insecurities. Okay? Let me define courage once again. It is your commitment to face your fears and your pain. Now, to face that, you got to write everything down. You got to write everything down because your mind is in chaos and in turmoil. Break it down. I promise you, do this exercise. Because one by one, okay, maybe out of 10 fears, 2 of them you may not want to face right now, or you may not have the ability to face it, but at least you face 8. What I promise you is a lighter heart, a more joyous heart, that experience of an emotion called bliss and freedom. True freedom. A lot of people who make mistakes and live in guilt, okay, they live in guilt because guilt has consumed them. They don't believe that they're human and they could have made mistakes. They don't want to face their fears and walk up to that person and say, hey, listen, I made a mistake. Now enough is enough. Can we work this out? Or can we just call it quits? I know what I'm losing. I can't change anything, but I want to live a happy life. I want to feel human. I want to feel free. I want to feel true love. Face your fears, step into the pain, say what it is that you have to say. At the end of the day, write down also, what is the worst that can happen? What is the worst that can happen? Your insecurities build stories and illusions which are not even real. What is the worst that can happen? I want you to write that down because I don't know what is the worst that could happen in your particular problems and insecurities. What is the worst that can happen? And you'll find that you'll have just 1 or 2 answers. You want to have a story like the story that your own fears and your own illusions have built in your own mind. So let's quickly go over quick methods to overcome insecurities. Number 1, face your past. Were you criticized as a child? Were you labeled? Break it down. Be aware of it so you can have these conversations. If you can't have these conversations, you got to close your eyes and meditate and forgive these people in your mind. That yes, you said this and for years I've suffered growing up thinking I'm not good enough, but now I forgive you because I want to move on. It's not going to happen in the first time, second, fourth, fifth. You got to release. You got to release. So you got to practice. Go into your past criticisms. Where have they come from? Have they come from your own social groups? A lot of the patients who come to me, after hearing them out, I just say, you need to change your social group. And 1 month later, they're way happier. They're way calmer. They feel better about themselves. So you got to identify where is your criticism coming from in the past and in the present. Your negative self-image. What is the negative where is your negative self-image built from? Your past, what you've heard, the movies that you watch, your virtual definitions of love, all of these things. Sit down, rewrite your belief system, rewrite your mindsets, your need for approval. Can you try to get approval and self-satisfaction from yourself, knowing your own self-worth, or from your immediate family and the people who love you? Stop trying to get it from the world. It's only going to decrease that inner strength more and more. So you want to make of that. You got to trust that you're good enough. You got to trust that you're on this world and you are going to be looked after no matter what. You have to trust that life has brought you here and life has a way of looking after you. For that, you may have to go through pain. You may have to go through ups and downs, but you got to trust the process of life. When we trust the process of life, most of our insecurities all automatically start disappearing. You got to trust that there is a higher power that looks after us all the time. Sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it is, but we have to have faith in that trust that we are being looked after all the time. Okay? Images in social media, the virtual world, start limiting your time on social media if you feel inadequate, if you don't like yourself after you spend time on social media, if your insecurities continue to grow and grow, the more you spend time on social media, it's time to give it a break. Okay? Not accepting things about yourself. Learn to accept yourself first. All of us have good and bad in us. All of us have made mistakes. Maybe we haven't yet, but maybe we will. We will make mistakes. There's not a person out there who has not made a mistake. So stop trying to live up to this false facade that you are perfect. No one is perfect. Learn to accept yourself. No matter how bad you think you are right now, accept yourself. What are the things that you can change which are harmful to other people? Okay? Learn to accept yourself. These are the ways that you have to do it. Start forgiving the past. Practice self-approval. Learn to approve yourself. You write down 10 things that you truly love about yourself and keep reminding yourself every single day so that you start building your own self-worth. If you don't build your self-worth, someone else is going to define it for you and build it for you. And you're going to be controlled every time that person changes or every time things around you change. You're like a puppet. Your self-worth will move up, down, up, down, up, down, because it's not built on you. That's all, everyone. I hope this changes your life. Have a great day. Thank you.